Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 10 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Well, tonight marks the end of the last day that state and healthcare workers in Washington can get vaccinated to meet Governor Jay Inslee's statewide vaccine mandate deadline of October 18th. And for many state workers, that meant today was their final chance to get their final shot or face losing their job. One local group included in that discussion are area local firefighters. And tonight, KREM 2's Joshua Robinson digs into the latest push to add some extra support here in Spokane for any firefighters facing a last-minute change of heart.
Tim Archer, president of the Spokane Firefighters Union and a veteran Spokane firefighter with 20 years of experience, is on the block to possibly lose his job later this month.
It feels like you're being discarded for very subjective reasons, especially when we're able to observe firefighters continue working to the east and to the north of us directly, including the city of Tacoma. You see varying stances across the state, but it is hard when your fire chief and your mayor has opted to make no accommodations for you to continue in your career.
Ahead of tonight's deadline, Archer's greatest frustration comes from the fact that the city of Spokane waited until September 23rd, 2 Thursdays ago, to announce their hard stance that Spokane City firefighters who aren't vaccinated won't be able to keep their jobs less than a month before they would lose their jobs.
They were filling out religious and medical exemptions, believing in good faith that they would be able to continue in the fire service.
But even with tonight's deadline that has come and gone for firefighters who have firmly decided not to get vaccinated, Archer points out there is still a method in place to allow a little bit of wiggle room for firefighters who change their minds before October 18th. Archer explained that firefighters have multiple options, including termination, retirement, being laid off, or a leave without pay.
If either the mandate gets lifted or if they achieve vaccination status in the case of the layoff for up to 3 years, they could come back to work for the city.
That's because any employee laid off or separated due to the current vaccine mandate will not be considered a disciplinary action for misconduct and could be eligible to be reinstated in the future with the Spokane Fire Department if a spot is open. Joshua Robinson, KREM 2 News.
Hundreds of people protested the state vaccine mandate yesterday outside the state capitol in Olympia. Many state employees say their job is on the line over what should be a personal decision. On the other hand, government numbers show the mandate is working. According to the State Office of Financial Management, the vaccination rate among state employees jumped nearly 20% between September 6th and the 20th, though many protesters say they've already made up their minds.
I hope that when the Inslee administration faces the reality of so many workers being facing termination in the services that are going to be impacted, I hope that he is advised to rethink this and back off.
While the governor's order does include some provisions for medical and religious exemptions, most employees will have to prove full vaccination status come October 18th. All right, let's talk weather. It started out kind of cool and cloudy today, but those clouds eventually burned off and ended up being a really nice day here in Spokane. Let's get straight out to meteorologist Thomas Patrick in the Outdoor Weather Center. And Thomas, how many more warm days do we have before things take a turn?
Just one, Mark.
Okay, we'll take full advantage.
Exactly. So tomorrow is going to actually be the warmest day that we felt recently. In fact, that cloud cover from earlier today did hold our temperatures back a little bit, getting only up to 68 Spokane, 69 Coeur d'Alene. We were hoping to get that 70-degree mark from our earlier forecast, but tomorrow should be no problem at that. We will definitely get that sunshine earlier in the day with perhaps some clouds moving in later on. Mid-70s on the way for tomorrow. This usually happens where we get our warmest day right before a cold front slams across the area, and that's what we'll be watching for about 24 to 30 hours from now. That would be Wednesday morning. Look at the cloud cover that we have overnight tonight. That will provide a bit of a blanket, a little bit of some light sprinkles over southern Washington. Nothing that is going to accumulate, though. We are starting to get those fall colors into play, especially over North Idaho, starting to look beautiful. Of course, if you have any pictures, love to see that over on the social media platforms. But coming up after that one day of warm weather, it is going to be much, much colder. We'll be talking about how low those low temperatures are going to go, how long this cold weather stretch is going to last this time around.
Sounds good, Thomas. Thank you very much. Well, for the first time since a crowd of angry anti-mask protesters prompted the Coeur d'Alene School Board to cancel their meeting, the board met again, but this time virtually. Among the topics, accepting the resignations of 2 board members. Here's KREM 2's Ian Smay tonight.
The board is now down to 3 members until appointments are made or one of those seats is filled by an election. The motions for those resignations being accepted were both passed unanimously. The board discussed how they'd handle the 2 seats and they came up with different ideas. The board will have to try to fill those seats by January 2nd. Tamber Pickford's term had about 2 years left, and the board will have to go through a process to find a qualified applicant to appoint by January 2nd. That same deadline is set for board chair Brumley's seat, but the board discussed taking a different approach as her seat is up for election this November, and she already wasn't planning on running for re-election even before she submitted her resignation. Whoever wins that election would be sworn in on January 3rd, a day after the deadline. The board's lawyer said they could likely keep that seat open as it would only be a day after the deadline passed, and the state would likely see it as no harm, no foul. Board member Casey Morrisroe gave his thoughts on how they should handle it. Take a listen.
If we're trying to meet the 90-day portion, I'm not sure that that's that critical. We're only talking they'd be sworn in on the 91st day, but perhaps we offer whoever wins that election to come on sometime in December or whatever to start early if they so choose. If they said, no, I'll wait till January, we tried.
We also have parts of those resignations from Brumley and Pickford. Let's start with Brumley. She said, quote, although my term will end this December, I have decided to leave the board early to focus on professional and family priorities. I am truly grateful for the opportunity to serve as the chair of the Board of Trustees this year, and I am proud of the positive change the board and the district administration have worked together on since 2018. In Pickford's resignation, she said, quote, regrettably, I must step down from the Board of Trustees. I no longer am able to devote the considerable amount of time that this position required. I'm grateful for the opportunity I've had to serve alongside so many amazing people these past 6 years. Their now former colleagues all gave thanks to Brumley and Pickford after accepting their resignations. They also discussed holding the application process after the November election so they can offer to appoint Brumley's position to whoever wins that seat. In the newsroom, Ian Smay, KREM 2 News.
And as Coeur d'Alene schools continue without masking or contact tracing, Kootenai Health is reporting that it is handling a record high number of pediatric COVID patients. Today, they said they are caring for 5 children with COVID. They also are treating a record number of adult COVID patients. They said 136 people are currently hospitalized at Kootenai Health. 40 of them are in the critical care unit. New tonight, the Spokane City Council approved a new, less lethal tool for the Spokane Police Department. This comes just months after several new police reform laws took effect here in Washington. The tool that SPD is requesting, 100 PEPPERBALL launchers. This tool complies with the Washington State's police reform laws. The state allocated funds for Washington law enforcement agencies like SPD to make this one-time purchase. It will cost nearly $68,000 to buy 100 of them. The city of Spokane was awarded $890,000 from the state. Tonight, the city council determined SPD could use those funds for the PEPPERBALL launchers. The funding for the launchers passed with a 6-to-1 vote. Council member Kate Burke, the lone member to vote against it.
We promised during the George Floyd protest that we would work on police reforms. What have we done? We've had a few discussions. I'm not talking about what the state has done. I'm talking about what we have done here in our very own community for our very own BIPOC community. Nothing. The answer is nothing, and this is embarrassing and sad. And here we are again giving more money to a force that has not taken any of this very seriously.
In addition to the PEPPERBALL launchers, funding for 76 additional ballistic shields passed tonight as well. All right, still ahead tonight, Governor Brad Little making his way to the U.S.-Mexico border. What he is doing there coming up in just 90 seconds. Plus, if you were not able to access Facebook or Instagram today, you certainly were not alone. We'll tell you what happened coming up a little later in the broadcast.